Hi, and welcome to the Knuckleball Primetime live from the Barn Studio and also virtually from Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Fiserv Forum. We have Micah with Knuckleball Primetime checking in live,
Yo,
getting getting ready for it's day two, but round one in Milwaukee at the Fiserv Forum, March Madness. Micah, how are you?
I am awesome. Awesome to be here. This is, the NCAA tournament is fantastic. So you can see behind me, I'm in a press suite right now. So we are at Fiserv. We're about 2 hours from tip off, hour and a half from tip off of our first games. It's Friday. So we had our press and open practice day yesterday while the Thursday games were going. So this site doesn't start until today. But really excited. Should be bonkers. Can't wait to get going.
And if it's half of what yesterday was, you're in for a treat. That's a long day. I mean, we've done this a few
Yeah.
times now. You have 4 games total, and we'll run through them pretty quickly. We just wanted to do a quick check-in, but yeah, so far March Madness has been madness, right? Like that's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of yesterday, or a lot of yesterday with chalk. There was a couple upsets, some double-digit victories. I don't know if that's a boring day. McNeese and Clemson almost came back in that game, and then our home state, Mizzou, lost to Drake, but that one wasn't super surprising. They were the highest betted Cinderella. Drake was the highest betted Cinderella in all the sports books to win that game. So that wasn't a huge surprise. As far as the tournament goes, kind of a calmer day, which means today is going to be bananas, I feel like, because it's got to all level out. So we're ready for some awesome games today.
And I know the doors have officially opened for the fans. I can even
Yep.
see some in the background now. Fans are starting to file in. For game one, it's going to be Iowa
Yeah.
State versus Lipscomb. Go ahead and tell us about that matchup.
Yeah, we'll run through some of these quick. Lipscomb can shoot now. Iowa State, obviously the favorite. The interesting thing is they do have some injuries. Their second leading scorer is out for the season, and the other guy in their backcourt is expected to play. He's got a nagging groin injury. So Iowa State's a little shorthanded. Lipscomb can really shoot the basketball, but they aren't very physical up front. Iowa State definitely is. So I look for Iowa State to really control rebounding, scoring inside, points in the paint, things like that. But it might be closer than people might think. This is a 3-14 matchup. We saw some of this yesterday where the lower seeds hung around until halftime, and then the higher seeds kind of took off in the second half. We might see something similar today. But it's March Madness. If they're within 10 points, and once we get to that under 8 media timeout, that's when things get really exciting and anything can happen. So, the Iowa State fans are starting to file in already. Actually, I can see some Lipscomb folks down there too in the purple. So people are coming in. Yeah.
And that's a 12:30 Central Time TNT tip
Yep.
off. So here in just a little bit, and that'll be game one. And you
Kevin
playing?
Harlan and Stan Van Gundy on the call. We also got the best broadcast team here in Milwaukee. It's fun bumping elbows with that, guys. True professionals.
Yeah, and we've talked about them on air before of sort of getting a little bit of a behind the scenes look into what their day consists of and the days leading up to the tournament, because there's oftentimes just as much work going into the tournament as the actual coverage itself. Would you agree?
No one works harder than those guys. Kevin Harlan is, I don't even know if he owns a laptop. He's a pen and paper. He's at every presser. He meets with every coach during the open practices or right after the open practices to have that dialogue so we can use that on air. But yeah, I mean, everybody here is true professionals. It's just one of a kind event.
Second game on the bill for you today is a 3:05 tip off ish, right?
Yep.
One of
Yep.
the hottest topics in the tournament so far is North Carolina. Should they
Yeah.
have been in? They obviously won the play-in game in a pretty dominant fashion. I think they were trying to make a statement there, but they go against number 6, Ole Miss.
Yeah, Carolina. Don't sleep on Carolina. They had I know everything. There was controversial. They didn't have a lot of quad one wins, but they played really, really well in the ACC tournament. They only lost to Florida by 2 on that silly lane violation call at the end of the game. A lot of people were picking Florida maybe to win the whole thing. And then they just came out and crushed it in the first 4 against San Diego State. Interesting tidbit on Carolina. my personal bracket, I actually have them in the Sweet 16. They would face off if they do manage to win today and pull the upset today. They will go against the shorthanded Iowa State team. Thing to note coming out of yesterday, though, and you've been to the open practices, it's more like each team gets 40 minutes. We've got courtside access. You can get right up in there. And most of those are like a shoot around, right? They're shooting lots of free throws, threes. It's real laid back, maybe some light pick and roll drills, stuff like that. North Carolina came out yesterday, and Hubie Brown ran those guys for 40 minutes. It was like nothing but transition drills. It was go, 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 go. They were up and down the court, like I said, like 5-on-4 transition drills, bringing them back and forth. It was really interesting to see that. This is our second year covering this. So we've seen, I've seen 16 teams practice. And that is the first time I've seen anything like that, such an intense practice a day ahead of your tournament game. So they seem really, really locked in. Ole Miss is no slouch. They won 21 games. The SEC was a gauntlet this year. So it's not like it's an easy game for them. That is my kind of looking forward to the most game today is the Ole Miss North Carolina game. Ole Miss is also really, really balanced. They rank 25th in offense and 31st in defense. But I'm anxious to see if they're ever able to slow North Carolina's pace because they just run. They want to speed the game up, score 80, 85 points. So we'll see if Ole Miss is able to slow them down. And one of my favorite players in the country, one of the best guards in the country, R.J. Davis, went 6 for 6 from 3 in that first 4 game. He can straight up handle the ball, distribute, and shoot. Can't wait to get up close and watch him today. So that's definitely the most exciting one for me just because of the whole North Carolina narrative. And I think they can make a decently deep run, at least to the Sweet 16. I mean, we'll see. Ole Miss is tough, but they've definitely got a chance today.
You mentioned being at the practice yesterday, and you actually, if you follow the Barn Facebook page and probably Knuckleball Primetime, there's you put a clip, sort of a clip package together on what yesterday kind of entailed, and there's a little bit of that in there.
Yep. Like I said, he was screaming. He's like, talk. I got a lot of Carolina footage just because it was so engaging and different. Everybody was like, what is going on? Like, everything's usually so casual. You want to be rested up. But he really, really pushed his guys. And we got some good content out of that. Yeah, so like I said, I'm really intrigued with how Carolina's going to play this weekend. 6:10
Central Standard Time on CBS, by the way. Troy, number 14 Troy versus number 3 Kentucky. And
another blue blood for us, yeah.
Yeah,
it's cool to have Carolina and Kentucky here. I don't know a ton about Troy. They come out of the Big Sky Conference. They won that conference. I was looking at power rankings for conferences, and they're actually ranked. The Big Sky is actually ranked second to last, only to the MAC conference. So they're conference winners. They deserve to be here. A little bit undersized. They're going to try to play the scrappy role. This isn't a prototypical Kentucky year. It's not like they hung around the top 5 all season. But they were ranked most of the year. They finished the year in the top 15. I think they finished the season ranked 15th. So that's another 3-14 matchup. Kentucky also big, it's just kind of the same as Iowa State. Kentucky's top 25 in the nation in rebounding. It's going to be really tough for Troy to gain additional possessions through offensive rebounds, stuff like that. They're probably going to get overrun in the paint quite a bit. What it takes for these lower seeds to really take off to win those games is they've got to be hitting outside shots. So, if Troy's able to sink some threes, they could be calling for an upset there.
And you're covering Kentucky, and I will be in Kentucky tomorrow at Rupp Arena covering
post school.
Yeah, covering round 2 in Lexington. So that'll be interesting, and we'll probably do something similar to that. So if you're watching this today, you can also tune in tomorrow. Real quickly, it looks like you're starting to get busy. Last game for your today, pretty late game. Also the CBS game, 9:45 Central Standard Time. Number 11 Xavier versus number 6 Illinois, a team that we have seen quite a bit.
Xavier coming out of the Big East, I worry about. They've had to do a lot to get here. Played a lot of close games all season. Played close games in the Big East tournament, including that 2-point loss to Marquette. But they had to do the same thing in the first 4. I actually ran into them in the tunnel yesterday, the team arriving off the bus, and they didn't get here till, like 30 minutes before their practice started. So they were busting in kind of late. So the only thing I kind of see there, I really like Xavier. I'm glad they got into the tournament, but I feel like fatigue might be catching up with them as they face Illinois. Illinois is, I feel like they're a little overseeded, to be honest. They went 21-12. They put them seventh in the Big Ten. They went 21-12. That had them finish seventh in the Big Ten. So I feel like they're a little overseeded. But we'll see. I think that matchup will be close. Xavier has a lot of heart. They're really, really well coached. As you know, they gave Marquette hell all year. I got to cover those games, so I'm very, very familiar with them. It is an 8:45 tip. Originally, I thought it was 9:45. We'll see how things progress, and how the tournament always seems to run behind. So we'll be getting out of here late today. But like we opened up with, 4 games. This is the longest day of the tournament. Everybody's on board. It's 11:30 now, so I've got like 13 hours to go. But it's one of the most, you just start running on adrenaline. And yeah, just happy to cover the 4 games that we'll have today. I think, like I said, we'll have some really exciting games, across the country at all the sites today. Because that stuff seems to balance out. So I feel like we're due for some chaos today, and hopefully we get some of that here.
Micah Miller with Knuckleball Primetime. Also, Zack is going to be on site as well in Milwaukee. We need to mention him. And they can find all the coverage on the Barn podcast and media network and Knuckleball Primetime. And Micah, enjoy your day today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll be checking in, check our social media. I'm sure we'll be posting some things when we can. We'll be active in the pressers and things like that. We'll have content coming out of Milwaukee soon.
All right, we'll talk soon. Thanks.